What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Nika Beard here. We're here this week with chapter 1063 chapter review breakdown. We're just gonna, I like to just give my thoughts about the chapter, kind of go panel by panel, picture by picture, see what's going on, tell you my thoughts. But we're gonna jump into it. 1063, my only family. Let's get into it. We start off with the cover photo. And if we go way back to where we first seen Cacao Island, right? And we seen the two people set foot on the island. It was speculated it was Blackbeard's people, but Oda gave us kind of the runaround there. And we started seeing Sanji's family, Germa 66 and Caesar. And we're like, okay, well, maybe we were wrong. But also at the same time, I had these thoughts that why would it be Germa 66 for one? Their shoes, they wouldn't just show up back to Cacao Island or Big Mom's territory in their regular clothes. They would be battle ready. So they would have their battle shoes on, which has the thrusters on it. And these people had regular shoes. And then now we see here that the whole place is frozen. At first, I thought it might be Caesar's weapon from last week's cover story. But seeing this and putting here, I really think that it's Blackbeard's people. It's Aokiji and one other member of the Blackbeard Pirates. And they stole pudding to read the poneglyphs. And this is really cool because this cover story has been kind of giving everybody the runaround, like, okay, this is cool. We got something cool going on a little bit, you know. But where's this going? And we finally see this. And Cracker looks like he is done for. Aokiji was like, oh, no, you ain't nothing. Which we seen Green Bull take out King and Queen, so it would only make sense for Aokiji to be able to take out Cracker. Now, what happened to Katakuri? We don't know. We're not too sure about that, but I doubt he could do much either, considering he's Mochi. And he would just be frozen solid, too. Even his future sight couldn't do anything against a flash freeze across an island. Like, it just couldn't. But we're going to move on to the chapter. Not much really goes on at these first few panels. It's just everybody there. We see them. It's kind of funny. They're all big. Even Bonnie's big. It's kind of funny. They're all like, yeah, that was so good. And then the next Vegapunk in the next picture. You sure ate your fill. All four of you are stuffed to bursting. And that's kind of funny because only three of them are. Jinbei, I'm like, man, Jinbei, that was below the belt, man. And Jinbei's like, nah, I always look like this. Like, what? Oh, man, he's like, I'm old. I got that dad bod a little bit going on. I'm strong. I'm still strong. Don't let the body, don't let it mislead you. It's kind of cool. They got this little robot, Recycoli. I know I'm not saying that right. But she turns around, well, I've got to go. Need to get back to my job, violence. And I'm like, what kind of job is that? And then the next picture literally shows Bonnie saying, what kind of job is that? And it is odd. We start seeing all these people show up, short, tall, different. They all look different. Chopper's like, what are those? And Bonnie's like, well, this is a research lab, so it's probably researchers. And Jinbei points out, well, there wasn't anyone here a minute ago, which, where were they all hiding at? You know, like, were they just hiding in the buildings? Were they hiding in the ground? Because Jinbei and them come out of the ground. But Luffy finds this outfit. It says it's, you know, it's got SSG on it. I actually like this outfit. It looks pretty cool. I like the design of it. The boots are robotic looking. He's got the thing on the side of his head, little communicator. And, of course, Bonnie's like, where did you get this? And he's just like, in here, in this little fashion. I like that. Everything's just for someone super intelligent. I guess it makes sense though. Just nobody can mess it up if you've got the word fashion on it. You know, this is where clothes are at. And then Bonnie goes in and says, my preference, combat gear. And what do we get? Of course, this revealing, well, it's not extremely revealing, but you can see those thighs, man. Thighs for days. And all I can think of is like classic RPG. The armor for females that's the best is always the most revealing. And Jinbei's outfit, even more of the dad bod thing going on. It gave him a Hawaiian outfit. Pretty fitting. And Chopper, his outfit was pretty cool. I like the goggles it gave him. And then Bonnie just out of nowhere, all right, I'm going to go rustle up some weapons and put the screws to Vegapunk. So long. Like, hey, wait, I see the bear. A bear? I wonder if he's looking for us, or is it my imagination? It's Kuma in police outfit. And like the outfit actually looks kind of cool. It looks like a mixture of like Wild West and futuristic at the same time. It's pretty cool. Luffy's like, let's move, we gotta run. And Kuma, boom, just charges at him. And it's a pacifista. Shoots a laser out of nowhere, just blasts it. They're inside the place. What's going on, man? They're like, eating without payment, theft of cloth, or theft of clothing. Needed money for that? Yeah, it didn't look like it considering how it was. But it just popped out when I kicked the machine. Oh man, when I kicked the machine, no wonder. You probably broke it. Is that supposed to get the death penalty? Seems like excessive punishment, no doubt. We gotta fight back before he gets the best of us. It's justified self-defense. If you ignore that, the part about us being pirates. And, of course, not gonna do that. And Bonnie, she's just traumatized. And Luffy, he jumps right into it. Looks like he's finna hit him with a gum elephant gun. He's fixing to. Him and Kuma right now finna clash. And Bonnie just, pow! I'm talking about lays into Luffy, kicks him right in the face, and knocks him down. And it might have saved him a little bit, but I think Luffy could have tanked it. Maybe. He just absolutely destroys the ground right there, of course. And then he's like, what the heck, man? Bonnie, why did you just hit me? And remember, we know that Kuma is Bonnie's father. But she didn't tell everyone else who it was. And this is when they find out. She says, that's my daddy. And he's my only family. And they're like, what? And they have the same reaction I'm sure we all did, because I did not see that coming at all. And they're like, so the dad who got turned into a cyborg was Kuma. And she says, please, I'm begging you, please don't hurt my daddy. I love this. It reminds me so much of Robin when Luffy was saying, tell me you want to live. And she screams, I want to live. I love this because of that. And not only that, but to the left, you've got Kuma and Little Bonnie. And they genuinely look very, very happy. And I'm like, I got to see this backstory. They look so happy, both of them. What would lead Kuma to be turned into a cyborg? And then what made Bonnie become a pirate? We don't know if her father, Kuma, was a pirate the whole time or not. We don't know yet. And also, was Kuma and Bonnie, did they live on the same island that Vegapunk did? I'm just really ready to see this backstory and see what happened, why he became a cyborg, why Bonnie became a pirate. Like, what happened to them, because they look so happy. Let's move on. Luffy's like, run, dummy. It's a pacifista. Yeah, so I assume from that this is not the original Kuma, which the original Kuma I know has his devil fruit ability. So, and then we see this huge explosion off of the island. And I can't tell if this is from the fight with Luffy and them, because they were in this city, this dome-like area, and that's nowhere to be seen. But in the next panel, it says, a stretch of sea, new world, and we get Blackbeard's laugh. And I'm going to come back to the explosion in just a second. And we've got Law. We're back to Law. Like, I did not expect to see Law this fast. Usually, Oda sets up things before we get to an island, and then after we leave that island, we'll get what the conclusion was, which we may get that here, and I really hope we don't, because what comes later. And they're saying, hey, we're not going to make it. Like, we can't escape. Like, there's nothing we can do. And Law's like, rise to the surface. Lands close by to the northeast. And next panel had me rolling a little bit. Prepare for battle. Hurry. And it's Law and Beppo gender bended. They're completely opposite genders. And I'm like, what the heck? I've seen so many online over the years. I'm like, yeah, right. Like, are we really ever going to see a female Law like that? And we did. Did Oda plan this before? Or did he say, hey, might as well. I'm going to throw that in there anyway. So, you know, the world may never know, but still. And right here, it got the cogs in my brain to spin, and I'm like, wait a minute. If we just heard Blackbeard's laugh, does that mean Ivankov is dead? Why would he be dead? And plus, if they're under the water, how did he turn them into women? Because every time we seen Ivankov use his powers, he touched them, if I'm correct. He touched the people. I know he had to inject the hormones into Luffy. But, you know, who knows? Like, I didn't know what was going on at this point. I was like, hold on, how did this even happen? But we're going to keep going. And, of course, his two crewmates are like, oh, my God, you're so hot. You're cute. And then everybody else starts turning into women. It starts flip-flopping them, I assume, into the opposite gender of what they are. And then everyone started turning into women. I'm like, and then they say the word infect. I'm like, hold on a minute. Infect? Ivankov's powers didn't work that way. What is going on here? And then Law comes in with something that's really cool that we really didn't see him do a lot of in Wano. Is he says, but I learned something in that Emperor fight. You can break through those powers, can't withstand intense enough hockey. So he sits there and pumps hockey through his body and turns back into himself, his male self, his regular self. And I'm like, that's pretty freaking cool, because when we seen him fight Big Mom, as far as I know, I didn't really see him use hockey a whole lot. He just uses Devil Fruit ability mostly. But when they break the surface, Blackbeard and his crew is ready for him. They're like, oh, so he broke through the disease? And it's like, hold on, what? A disease? And they're like, he's worth $3 billion for a reason. And Doc Q. And once he's broken through, his antibodies will spread just as the illness did. Did you have fun with the feminization disease? And it says Doc Q, sick fruit. Hold on a second. Sick fruit. He created that disease which turned them into female. This opens a whole can of worms of what can go on from this point on. Not only in this battle between Blackbeard and his crew versus Law and his crew, but what's to come in future fights between other crews like Kid's, Luffy's, like just period in the series. What can he create? What's the reach of his ability? Because they were underwater in a submarine, as far as we know, when they got infected. And it spread extremely fast. And not only was it just a disease, it was a disease that changed their body from male to female. So what all can this man create as far as sickness goes? And then we go on to Van Augur and Burgess. And Van Augur's like, Burgess, we're moving to the island. And Burgess says, okay. And under Van Augur's name, it says warp fruit. And he pops Burgess from the ship to the island. He literally just teleported someone from a ship to an island, and it wasn't a small distance. It looks to be a very long distance. And if he can warp himself, which I don't know why he wouldn't be able to warp himself, this is an insane power for a sniper. And the implications this has for future battles is going to be nuts. Like, I know with this chapter, Oda is basically setting up matchups between Blackbeard's crew and Luffy's crew. Doc Q, the sick fruit. Tony Chopper is the doctor. We don't quite know what his ability is, where he shrinks to cure something. We seen a little bit, but I don't think we didn't get a whole lot of details on it. But those two will be matched up, and then Van Augur and Usopp. And with Van Augur literally being able to teleport anywhere around an area at all. And from these two pictures in this panel, it's not just a short distance. It's a very long distance. It will take Usopp. He will have to have mastered observation haki before those two fight. And we seen Usopp use observation haki in Dressrosa when he shot Sugar with his little fake scary Usopp face. But this right here gets me extremely excited for what's to come with the future battles. And then we move on to Burgess. He says the strong fruit power is unstoppable. We already know that Burgess was pretty strong on his own. But now that he has a strong fruit, he literally breaks a mountain, picks it up, and throws it at Law and his crew. So that is it, absolutely insane. We haven't seen anybody do anything like that, really. Those three alone are absolutely like super powerful. The matchups, I believe Burgess will end up being the person who fights. I believe Burgess will either fight Sanji or he will either fight Jinbei. Which I don't think he'll fight Jinbei just because Burgess is the first mate. I think he'll fight Sanji. But Law, of course, he's not going to be fazed by this. He starts deducing everything immediately. He says super strength, contagion, teleportation, all of these preposterous powers they've gained through hunting down devil fruits. No wonder their bounties just keep rising. And his crew says, here comes the mountain. And of course, I figured he would do this. He just cuts the mountain up, uses room on it. But Blackbeard himself shows up. It's been a while, Law. He says, why are you here? He says, Straw Hat, Kid, or you. I knew that one of you was going to sail here from Wano. And that's because the island, once they got there, it pointed in 3 different directions and there was 3 of them. So, that means Blackbeard has a good understanding of the islands, how they're set up, and everything in the New World. He said, and they're like, Commodore Stronger says you're crushing him, and that's because he's sitting on top of Doc Q and his horse, and they gave his horse the mythical type model Pegasus. So he can fly at least, but I wonder if this horse will even have even more abilities because of it being a mythical type. I don't know, maybe not, but mixed with being able to fly around, someone who can create any disease would be able to spread any disease as fast as they wanted to. And I believe he will be faced with Chopper. Chopper, as far as I know, has no way to combat that. So this is going to be interesting to see how Oda develops the Straw Hat crew in this final arc to face Blackbeard and his crew. And after reading this chapter, I really feel like this is going to be one of the final battles. Blackbeard and his crew versus the Straw Hats. But, of course, Blackbeard, being the opportunist he is, he says, I know Kaido had at least one, right? He says, give me your road poneglyphs. Law says, same, back to you. In this fight, winner takes all. So what's going to happen here? This is Law versus the Blackbeard Pirates. We're just going to be honest here. That's what this is. Unless Oda has kept Beppo and the rest of the crew having some insane abilities he just hasn't wanted to show us so far, this is Law versus 4 Blackbeard Pirates. And he just got through fighting Big Mom, but he had the help of Kid to beat her. And with the abilities that's present, being able to create a disease while flying around, someone able to throw a mountain at you, someone able to teleport other people and most likely themselves within large distances to snipe you, and facing against Blackbeard, which has Whitebeard's Quake fruit and Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi, which cancels out Devil Fruit powers. This does not look good for Law. But before I go further, I'm going to go back to the cover story and for a second. I believe that was Aokiji 100% after seeing Blackbeard. And I believe that's who we saw at first when we seen Cacao Island. That Oda just gave us the runaround because he was saving everything. Because as far as we know, Blackbeard doesn't hear the voice of all things. He can't read poneglyphs. He can't do any of that. But Pudding's race has the potential to be able to read the poneglyphs. That's why they kidnapped Pudding and left. They may have even got a road poneglyph from her. Might as well while you're there. But going back to this, it doesn't look good for Law. This is either going to end with Law barely escaping, kidnapped, or dead. I know there's speculation that Law possibly has some ties to Sword. And with Kobe, he just went with Blackbeard. So will we see Kobe somewhere in this, and will it involve Law as well? There's so much that could happen here. And not only do I think the possibility of Law dying is because of his ability to bring people back to life by sacrificing himself. Blackbeard could give Law's devil fruit abilities to one of his crewmates or anyone else that he knows he can manipulate, to when, if there comes a point where Blackbeard is about to die or lose a fight, let's say the fight to be king of the pirates, possibly against Luffy, that he says, and he dies, he tells the person, if I die, sacrifice yourself and bring me back to life. And it will be like starting all over. Like, and it would be genius. And Blackbeard's not stupid. He knows what these abilities do. He hunts devil fruit ability users. There's just so many implications that could go on from this fight. I wonder if Kobe will play a part into this at all, or anything. You know, there's just so much. But that's going to be it for this chapter review and breakdown, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel, pass the channel on to your friends. Comment down below what you thought about this chapter, what you think's coming in One Piece, what implications this chapter has on the story. But until next time, guys, peace.